Let's anchor this sacred silence, the deep breath together. Let's actually do that 2 more times together. Another breath right here. And on this third exhale, let's take it in deep and let's exhale audibly, making sure we're back in the room together. There we are. Come back into your body. That jack can take you out into the ethers, can't he? That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Good morning. You're absolutely beautiful. It's good to see you. 'Tis the season to be happy and jolly and triggered. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. That this is truly a wonderful time of year, and for a lot of people, it's a time of year that things come up, and I say yay to that. This is good. So today during the talk and this afternoon in the workshop, I'm going to be talking about reframing, reclaiming our lives, really. Reframe, rename, reclaim the events and the situations in your life to be for you, because they are. And we can look at anything that stresses us and take it into a positive. And we can feel that, what we just felt. That's beautiful. I encourage us to not just feel it on Sunday morning for about 10 minutes, right? Let's feel it every day. Let's live in that place. That's what I want for myself, and that's what I strive for. It feels good just to think about, doesn't it? So I am by no means going to start preaching Course in Miracles to you, because you have the Course in Miracles guru in-house. He's been studying it a very, very long time, and he still blows my mind. Sometimes he'll call me up and he'll quote something, and then he says, "You're staring straight forward, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of am." That was deep. But there is a Course in Miracles quote that I love very much. I even know the lesson, Jack. It's lesson 330. And it is, "I will not harm myself again today." See, what happens a lot of times is things come up for us. Around holidays, around any time really, things come up for us. And it could be something that happened or was said 20 years ago. And all of a sudden we're reharming ourselves. We're reharming ourselves with our thoughts. Instead of, we could reframe into a positive thought, because guess what? Those thoughts that you think a lot are going to become beliefs that attract experiences, yay and whoopsie, all at the same time. So we get to decide if it's a yay or a whoopsie based on what we're thinking all the time. What are we perseverating upon? And so thinking about what we think about, really. Paying attention to what we think about helps us to not reharm ourselves. We become able to anchor positive thoughts in our experience. But we have to start with paying attention, don't we? We have to start with paying attention. What is really coming up for me? And I was thinking about this morning, one of the times when I first started really getting this, and when you first start to get this type of new thought philosophy, you'll be walking down the street and all of a sudden a thought will come and you're like, "Oh, God, I'm creating. You know, don't freak out. It doesn't happen, thank God, right away. Just calm down, take a breath. But do catch it and reframe it into something that you want to believe, you want to anchor, you want to live in. So you feel, so you are, right? What you want to think and feel into. Pay attention to that. So I was thinking back to many years ago, like 20 years ago, when I first started in the teaching of Science of Mind that I'm ordained in, which is a sister philosophy to Unity. The folks that founded Unity and the man that founded Science of Mind were peers and studied with Emma Curtis Hopkins, and that's a whole other story. But anyway, so I was just getting my head around this whole new thought philosophy of affirming what I want for my life. And I was a full-time touring musician. I traveled up to Madison, Wisconsin, wonderful little town, and I had managed to land a gig at this wonderful little cafe that had a music program that they brought in some really great musicians, and it was owned by 2 women. I thought, yay, I'm going to get the women's music crowd. It's going to be a slam dunk. This is going to be great. I get there. It's pouring down rain, like tornado warnings everywhere, which was not a great start to the day. And then I'm like, where is everybody? I mean, the owners weren't even there. I'm like, there's like 3 people in the whole place. What is going on? And someone says, "Oh, yeah, short straw for you. Melissa Etheridge is playing down the street." I was like, huh. Yeah, she's been doing that a little bit longer than me at that point, and was a little better known. So, yeah, she got all the crowd. And so immediately I started thinking, the owners should have known better. And, I stink. Nobody wants to come hear me. That's what it is. It's my consciousness. Nobody wants to come. And I was like, wait a minute. No. Well, maybe I do need to reframe something in my consciousness. Okay, how about I reframe that I am in the perfect place. I'm at the right place with the right people at the right time doing the right work. And that who I am attracts the right people to listen to me. And that everything is working out for me. And I started just spouting this stuff, even though I was kind of like there were two parts of me in there. And one going, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? And the other one going, shut up. I'm talking here. And I'm trying to affirm here. Get thee behind me, Satan. Come on. So I'm having this talk with myself, right? And it turns out, as I continue to affirm, I don't have to know how that these three people are my good, but this is my good. This is my good. As I was journaling about this, by the way, side note, I wrote, this is my God. Typo? Maybe not. Anyway, so this is my good, this is my God. So I was affirming this. It turns out I took a break. It turns out that one of those 4 people worked for a middle school in town. Now, what you don't know is that I had been saying affirmative prayers for weeks, wanting to work with children, wanting to get into the school system with my songs and empower children with music. So out of the whopping crowd I had, one of them was whoever in charge. I don't remember if she was superintendent or principal or whatever, but person in charge of this middle school. And they were having a pep rally the next day. And she said, you know, I really feel like our children need to hear some empowering songs like you write. Are you free tomorrow? Why, yes, I am. And I went and I sang to all these middle schoolers, and it was awesome to sing songs of empowerment to these kids. And I get back to Charlotte, and a friend of mine said, you know, if only you had just one school under your belt, just one that I could go to my principal and say, she's done this before, we can hire her. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I was just touring last week in Madison, Wisconsin, and she was like, really? And she got me into the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. Why? Because I didn't sit in and anchor in the energy and the vibration and the thought of, nobody wants to hear me. And you know, these people stink. I can't believe they didn't think better than to book me on the same night as Melissa Etheridge. Blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't sit in that. I caught myself and said, that's not where I want to live. That's not who I want to be. That's not where I want to live from. That's not the energy I want to live from, vibrate from, right? Reframing that stuff. Everything is working for my good. Everything is working for my good. I use that one to this day. When something, you know, when people don't read your script, you ever had that happen? You know what I mean? Some of you shake your head a little harder than others, but the others are the ones that don't read our script, probably. Anyway, so when we think we know how something's supposed to go, how things are supposed to go, and then it's not happening. That's when I have to go, wait a second. They're not stupid. I'm not in control of everyone's life. And better than all of that, everything is working out for my good. I can let this go. Everything is working out for my good. I'm so excited to get that. It's such a much more stress-free place to live. Right now, as we speak, or maybe, 12, 15, yeah, they're just finishing in Charlotte, our service there. And I told everyone it's a service from the community, for the community, to the community, because all of our folks are doing it today. We have one of our board members and one of our music team sharing the message, other people sharing music, and they all just came together and they were like, I would like to do that part. I would like to do that part. And they're just sharing it. And I'm able to be in this place of peace that, let me tell you something, 20 years ago, I would not have been able to be in a place of peace, and they wouldn't have been very peaceful either trying to read the script that I would have left them. That would have been 2 pages, font 10, front and back. Instead, I'm like, okay, God's got this. Everything's working out for my good, for your good, for our community's good. I'll be in Metairie, New Orleans. Bye. Have fun. It's going to be great. I know it's going to be awesome. That's a much better place to live. We can anchor that. It takes surrender, though. It takes surrendering into the moment and knowing that there is a power for good, and it uses through me. It uses me, and it's for me. There's a power for good. It lives within me. It expresses as me, uniquely as me. Uniquely as me. So as I'm saying, you know, I know that the right and perfect people are being drawn to me, attracted to my gifts. And you might be sitting there going, yeah, but I'm not a minister or a musician. What are they going to be drawn to me for? Guess what? We each have our own unique, precious, perfect gifts. That beautiful song that Jack Fowler sings about being a tapestry. The tapestry wouldn't be complete without your gift and your gift and your gift. And maybe it's the way that you make the person's day when you check out in the grocery line, because you make eye contact and you say, Carla, man, it's good to see you. How are the kids? And in that moment, she remembers she's not insignificant. Maybe your unique gift is making eye contact. Notice I'm going back to the eye contact thing a lot because it's the window into the soul. Maybe it's making eye contact with the person on the street that everyone else has been walking by. Maybe it's making eye contact with your significant other. How many times do we live with someone, spend time with someone, and then go, whoa, hey, how you doing? Like, we really haven't connected. Thank goodness I don't have that experience in my life. But I've been there, right? I have a wonderful experience of connection I'm grateful for. But, I know what it's like not to have that. I know what it's like not to have that. I know what it's like to feel invisible in a relationship, in a room, in a crowd. And so our gifts are different. But we all have the gift of love. We all have the gift to show up and be love. One of my first teachers, Reverend David Leonard, I called him up when I was hired to be a minister, and I was kind of getting on the job training. I was not a minister, and they hired me as one. Does that sound familiar? Because the consciousness of ministry was there, just like it is for you all here in Metairie and has been for a long time. But I called up freaking out to one of my teachers, David Leonard, and I said, it's kind of like a delayed reaction, like, whoopsie, I don't know what I'm doing, after the fact. And he just laughed. And I said, no, seriously, I don't know what I'm doing. I am clueless. How did I get here? I don't know what's going on. I'm hyperventilating. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to be a minister. He said, honey, baby girl, just breathe. So when my students say, you say that a lot, I'm like, I know, because I had 2 teachers always telling me that I was holding my breath through life. So he said, just breathe, baby girl. Show up and be love. So when you have a friend, a relative who's being difficult, or maybe they have a diagnosis that's scary for both of you, and you think, how can I help this person right now? Maybe they have an addiction problem. Maybe they have whatever. And you think, I don't know what to do for this person. Show up and be love, and trust that that divine presence moving through you knows what to do when you don't. And it's using, by means of you, it's using you as a vessel. When we let it, to the degree that we get out of the way and let it, right? That's surrendering to the power and presence within me that knows how. Surrendering into that, having gratitude for everything, welcoming everything, making life welcome in our experience, and then being in service to ourselves, to our own growth, and to each other. Those are the 3 things that have gotten me through a lot of times that have felt very scary and difficult in my life. It's gotten me through times of depression, all kinds of scary, scary things. Surrender, gratitude, and service. I talk about it a lot. Surrender, gratitude, and service. There was a time when I was, back again, another story for you. It was good enough for Jesus to teach through stories, so I figure I can do that too. So there was a time when I was touring full time, and all my money to pay the rent and everything else came from my music gigs, right? And I got sick. Not only did I not have health insurance, I didn't have any money in the bank except what I got the week before that paid the bill, and then whoopsie. So now what, right? So here I am, it's probably 25 years ago, and I'm thinking, I don't even know how to pay my bills because I am so sick I can't even get out of bed. That went on for about 6 weeks. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get kicked out of my house. My sister owned it, so thank goodness for that. I didn't really get kicked out. Thanks, sis. But I wasn't able to pay her. I wasn't able to pay my bills. It was terrible. It was a yucky feeling. And here I am 6 weeks into this, and I'm thinking, I want to give my gift. And now, finally, I'm starting to feel better. And but gigs take a few months to happen, right? You book something, and then it's 2 or 3 months later, usually, that they happen. And so I'm thinking, well, now that I'm better, I don't have any money, but I do have my gifts to give. That was the surrendering into, what do I do now? I'm grateful for the fact that I can sing. It's not going to make me any money right now, but I'm grateful to the fact, and that was my mindset. That was something I would tell you to cancel clear now, because you never know when you're going to make money, because the job is not your source. God is your source. Side note. So surrender, gratitude for my gifts. How can I give them? How can I give my gifts? So I'm sitting on the couch, watching TV, and this ad comes on, a domestic violence ad. And I had been in an abusive relationship years before. I know it's kind of funny to believe that someone that gets called sir more than they get called ma'am could ever be on the receiving end of that, but it's true. And my heart just broke open for the people in that video and for people in that situation, and I wanted to give. And the next ad was for a girls' home, for girls who had been raised in an environment where there was abuse. And I was like, okay, God, what's happening right now? And it was just across the state line in South Carolina. So I called them. I said, hey, I know you don't know me. I don't know you, but I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been sick for a couple of months, so wasn't able to book anything, and now I have all this time, and I feel better, and I want to sing, and more importantly than that, I want to serve your mission and your girls. She goes, that's amazing. We were trying to figure out how to bring them together in some type of an event that would be fun for them, and they planned a concert. And I had fun with these 25 girls who were living in this home, who had come from this place that I had lived in, that I could relate to. And I related with those girls, and it changed me. And I know it changed them. It made a difference. Why? Because instead of feeling sorry for myself that I was out of work for 6 weeks and that I didn't have money and, oh my gosh, it's going to be another 6 weeks or 12 weeks before I get money, instead of living in that, it was, no, God's my source. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I do know that I have a gift to give, and I can give it, and I'm going to do that. Surrender, gratitude, service. Money started coming. Jobs started coming. From the Wisconsin thing, from the other school thing, from the girls' home, all that was around the same time, because I was just, I don't know, but the power and presence within me does, and I surrendered to it. I'm grateful for my gifts, and I'm serving, looking for ways to serve. I think that's the difference, really, in my life, in where I'm at right now, is that I live to express. And I don't just mean gifts, quote unquote. Just mean express. I live to express. I hope to always live to express instead of acquire. You know what I mean by that? Living to express rather than acquire. I'll give you an example. When we started the church in Charlotte, which, by the way, that's one of my big highlights since I was here last. I founded the Carolina Center for Spiritual Awakening in Charlotte in January. So we're almost at a year now, and it's amazing and so much fun. And when we started, we were meeting in a couple of different places, and one of the places was a very small room, and it would hold like 45 chairs or so, and we didn't have anywhere for the kids to go. And we had 4 or 5 kids out of this small group already. And I was like, we have to do something for the kids. I want to serve the kids. I want it to express. I wasn't saying, how do I get a room for the kids? How do I get a teacher for the kids, right? That's an acquiring mind. How do I get? How do I get? I just said, how do I love the kids? How do I love the kids? Now, this is not to pat myself on the back. I just think it's an awesome example, because I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just loving the kids. I love kids, right? So I was loving on the kids, and I was like, well, they're going to be bored if they have to sit there and listen to me give a talk the whole time. And then whatever, I try to be entertaining, but sometimes kids get bored. Not boring. They're never boring. And so I know I'll do a 5-minute recap at the end of the message, kid style. So I went to the store and I bought these fun blankets, and I put them on the floor at the end of the message. After I brought it to a close for the adults, I would say, okay, come up here, kids. And we'd throw the blankets. They would help me. We'd put the blankets down. We'd sit on the floor together, and I would break it down, what I just said in a kid's story that I would write the night before. It was more work, but it was fun. It was fun. I was just expressing. I wanted to love on them. 2 weeks later, might have even been the first time I did it. I don't know. It happened really fast. 2 people came up and said, I'd like to work with the youth. Within a month, we had a bigger place where they have their own room. Now we have a youth director and like 6 youth teachers and kids from little tiny to teenagers, and because I want to love on the kids, right? So living in that place of expressing rather than acquiring. I had Unity. One of my friends who's a Unity minister out in Wilmington. She teaches Unity ministers, and she had her class Zoom with me, do a little video conference. And that was the main question. They wanted to know, so how did you, I think the term is plant. How did you plant the church? How did you plant? What advice would you give for planting a church? That's what it's called. And I just said that very thing. Express. Just live to express. Not to, oh, I got to get the right building at the right part of town, at the right people, at the right. When you express and you surrender and you trust and you're grateful and you're serving, you attract. And that's true for your own life. But it takes changing that perspective, having a shift in our mind to reframe something before we live in it and create something we don't want. Before we live in that place of, I'm not worthy. Or we live in that place of, no one wants to be with me, no one wants to hire me, no one wants to be my roommate, whatever it is that you're wanting to have in your life, live in the energy of expressing from that. I know that I am a worthy, magnificent, beautiful child of the beloved, and that I attract to me the right and perfect people at the right and perfect time and place, doing the right and perfect thing. That shift in perception It takes a little work sometimes to get used to, right? It takes a little work. I have some tools I want to share with you this afternoon, so I hope you'll stay. We're going to bring you some food in so you won't starve. And it's about shifting that perception, though, shifting your mindset from the world is out to get me and it's doing something to me, to the world is just an expression, an extension of the divine. Everything is moving through me, for me. Everything is moving through me, for me. I am a divine vessel. I'm a vessel for divine love. I'm a vessel, you're a vessel for divine love to show up. Just show up and be love. And trust. I'm at the right place, at the right time, with the right people, doing the right thing. Look around. Say that with me. I'm at the right place, with the right people, at the right time, doing the right thing, and so it is. Yes. Song I've been enjoying playing that kind of speaks to perspective. It speaks to that shift in perspective. It's actually an India Ari song that I love quite a lot. Back when I had a little, thought that I needed a lot. A little was overrated, but a lot was a little too complicated. See, zero didn't satisfy me, a million didn't make me happy. And that's when I learned the lesson. It's all about your perception. Are you a pauper or a superstar? So you act, so you feel, so you are. It's not about the size of your car, it's about the size of the faith in your heart. There's hope. Doesn't cost a thing to smile. Don't have to play to laugh. You better thank God for that. Yeah, there's hope. Doesn't cost a thing to smile. Don't have to pay to laugh. You can thank God for that. In the back country of Brazil, I met a young brother that made me feel that I could accomplish anything. See, just like me, he wanted to sing. He had no windows and no doors. He lived a simple life, was extremely poor. On top of all that, he had no eyesight, but that didn't keep him from seeing the light. He said, what's it like in the USA, bud? All I did was complain. He said, living here is paradise. Taught me paradise is in your mind. There's hope. Doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh. You better thank God for that. Yeah, there's hope. Doesn't cost a thing to smile. Don't have to pay to laugh. You can thank God for that. Every time I turn on the TV, somebody's acting crazy. If you let it, it'll drive you crazy. But I'm taking back my power today. You see, gas prices keep on rising. The government keeps on lying. But I gotta keep on surviving. Keep doing my best, the best I can. Yes, hope. It doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh. You better thank God for that. Yeah, there's hope. It doesn't cost a thing to smile. Don't have to pay to laugh. You can thank God for that. There's hope. Stand up for your rights. Keep shining your light. Show the world your smile. There's hope. Stand up for your rights. Keep shining your light. Show the world your smile. There's hope. Doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh. You can thank God for that.